All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am so excited to be here. Not only am I here with Mr. Paul Schween, one of our newest ambassadors. Lisa, Paul caught the vision. He went to the Mynt launch, and he said, I am all in, and he just came on board. How exciting is that?
Summer told me. I was very excited to hear that. I kind of figured when we all met not that long ago that he was there. You know, the wonderful thing about what we do, I equate it to kind of like being, an alcoholic. Once it's in your blood, you're inches from a clean getaway, but you're never really out. You're just sometimes not drinking. The only difference is that's bad for you. This is inherently really good for you, but it's an addiction nonetheless. A healthy, wonderful addiction.
Well, we sure appreciate you for joining us. I know that the team was really excited to hear from you tonight. And tell us a little bit. I mean, I know that you're in Hong Kong right now, right?
I am on a very extended trip. And actually we'll be basing out of here probably at least 50–60% of the time. I would say probably for the next 2 years minimum.
Oh.
And excited to be back. You know, they always say you can't go home again, and it's not true. It really isn't true. About 10 years ago, Curtis and I came over here for 2 weeks to fix a problem, ended up commuting back and forth for the next 4.5 years, and it was a wonderful experience, and always hoped that the opportunity would arise to do that again if the right situation came up, because I am, unfortunately, for better or worse, a Star Trekker, and I always never like to really do what I've done before. I always like to push the envelope and do the next thing. So that's kind of what we're doing. And the thing that I'm most grateful for is, unlike 10 years ago, today, because of wonderful technology like this and the world getting smaller, I can do what I love to do and stay connected and participate in things like this from wherever in the world I am, and be local wherever the mood strikes me and wherever I feel like I can make the greatest contribution. So life is good.
Well, we're excited to have you here, and we've got a lot of new viewers tonight. We've almost got a whole new team. I mean, people, are continuing to come in. We've got a huge team exploding down in Dr. White. Dr. White just joined us down in Lubbock, Texas. We've got, Jay Lewandowski and Craig that continue to tear up the Health Pro model. We've got Jesse and Erica Belvin, and their group is just on fire, both here in Arizona, and some big things happening out in California right now. Did you see the Mynt launch? Did you hear? What have you heard about the Mynt?
Well, actually, I have been watching. Also, Eric and I are very good friends, and so I get different information from a lot of different sources. But very, very exciting things going on. Obviously, another good friend of mine was there, a good friend of yours, celebrating his 40th birthday. So I hear things from him. But there's no question that the industry is buzzing right now with the Mynt story. And no doubt that the industry is buzzing about the wonderful things that you and Summer and your team are accomplishing. And that's very exciting for Curtis and I, because we got to be there, at the beginning of the story, and actually off stage, before the play started, at the story before the story. So we knew what was going to happen. You knew what was going to happen. Other people not so sure. It's always nice to be there to watch those that thought you were crazy realize that maybe you weren't so crazy after all. Here's the next chapter. Very soon, those that thought you were crazy will be talking about how lucky you turned out to be. The hard work and the vision that went in between crazy and lucky, they will never talk about, but we know.
Yeah, no, we do. And you know what? I think that that's a perfect actual lead into tonight's topic, because it does take a little bit of foresight and vision for people to be part of a movement like this at the beginning stages. And I know that you are you are one of the top leaders in our entire profession for being a visionary, and I'm really excited about tonight because I know that you have prepared a training about vision. So I would love to be able to kick it over to you and kick you off right tonight and sit back and be able to take some notes. But I'm going to be here with you if you have any questions. But I want our listeners to be able to get a taste at least.
I've had a couple of people asking when this starts and did this already start. I'm confused. So let's make sure that people are actually able to see this and that it is broadcasting on your channel.
Okay, so we do have some live viewers I can see right now.
No, I know, but can they see us? Because I've got a couple of questions over to the side with people asking, did this start? When's this start? And there's a little bit of delay in the questions, but can you go check and make sure that it's actually broadcasting so that people are seeing it? Or if anybody who's watching this can see it, please indicate in the question box that yes, you are seeing us coming through live and clear.
Yeah, let's see here. Paul was just on, and you saw me, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Paul actually seeing it on his.
Okay, then we are broadcasting in answer to those of you that asked the question, did this start? We have started talking. We're just doing that little pre-thing that you do, so we haven't trained on anything phenomenal. We were just talking about how exciting what's going on in the Mint universe is, and if you're watching this and you're in Mint, you already know that, so you've missed absolutely nothing, just that you're in the center of something that's very exciting that's happening in the wonderful, wacky, fantastic world of network marketing in which we are also privileged to operate. And thank you, James Luck, who just told me that he can see and everything is good. So, actually, and Travis was talking about foresight and vision, and it's interesting that you should bring that up because I was doing a training through translation the other day over here, or coaching, whatever it is, and it gives you the opportunity to think when you're being translated. You've had the experience, Travis, so you know what I'm speaking about.
You.
It forces you to really hone down what you wish to say for a number of reasons. There's going to be breaks in what you're saying so that it can be interpreted by your interpreter. So you have to make succinct points. And also, no matter how good your interpreter is, no matter how fluent they are in English, there's always colloquialisms. And when you speak over in Hong Kong, you will realize that we don't really speak English, at least what they consider to be English. We speak American, which apparently is very low on the totem pole of English speaking. And they point that out wherever they can. It's not formal enough. The enunciation is not correct. As a matter of fact, I've had people here who speak 4 languages to look at me and ask me when I'm going to learn to speak the one that I speak well. And what I was speaking of was vision. Because when you start something new, like network marketing, or anything in life, success in any area of life, whether it's financial or spiritual or decorating your house or anything, the most important thing, I believe, in living the life that you want, we talk about persistence and we talk about all of these wonderful qualities, but I really do think it comes back to vision first and foremost. And I'll explain why, for those of you that think I'm crazy, because we don't touch on this very much. And it's because I don't believe that people get what they want. I believe we get what we picture. And I believe that whether we admit it or not, that most often in life, we are living the life we are comfortable with. Now, that doesn't mean it's the life we want, and that doesn't even necessarily mean it's very good. But we live the life we believe is the way things are supposed to be. And I'll give you an example. Travis, you disappeared on me, just as I was about to talk to you.
I'm here, Lee. It's okay. I'm still here. Keep rocking.
Okay. Travis, you have siblings, yes? Well, he does.
A few of them that are square. I've got quite a few.
I have a brother. And my brother and I have an interesting relationship. I love him. He loves me. But we have never gotten along. He says black, I say white. And, I watch the Brady Bunch, and I watch all these things on television, and I longingly look at it, and I want and I wish that we have one of these very close Brady Bunch type relationships, but we don't. And I don't know what your relationship is with your siblings, but you have but I've seen your kids. Now your kids, and I envy the way that you've raised them. They have a Brady Bunch type of thing going on, but you and your siblings have a Brady Bunch type of thing going on?
No, there's actually a disconnect there, just because his vision's a little bit different. And
okay, my brother and I too. Now, yeah. I wish we had a Brady Bunch thing going on, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
But the truth is, if I'm going to admit it, my brother and I, our relationship truly is, if I'm going to be honest, it's the way it's supposed to be. When I think about it, I'm comfortable with it. It's the way I see it, the way I picture it. I may want it to be different. I may wish it was different. And when I watch the Brady Bunch, or I see siblings that get along the way that Travis's siblings operate, I mean, not Travis's siblings, Travis's kids who are siblings operate, I wish we had that. But I can't see it. I close my eyes, and that is not how I picture my brother and I. The way that he and I are, in my heart of hearts, I believe it's the way it's supposed to be. And if you are not getting the life that you want, the life that you're, when we always say, you know, get out of your comfort zone, the truth is our comfort zone, more often than not, is the way that we believe life is supposed to be. And we have to change the picture. And when we picture, and we believe the picture that we see is the way life is supposed to be, that's when it changes. So when I tell you that we don't get what we want, we get what we picture, that's where vision comes in. And the mistake that a lot of people make is they say, you know, what do you want? I want to be a millionaire. I want to live in $1 million house, and I want to have 5 cars. And you may really want that. I may really want that. Somebody may really want that. But the truth is, maybe you can't picture it. I've interviewed a lot of millionaires in my career. I interviewed a lot of millionaires long before I made $1 million. And truthfully, when I would ask them, what do you want? What's the life you want? When they first started out, and I would talk to them, when you first got started, what did you want? They had a much clearer list of what they didn't want and what they wanted to eliminate from their lives than what they wanted their dream life to look like. And their dream life, from when they started, that picture significantly changed as life went on. Most rags to riches stories, if you ask them what they really wanted at the beginning, it was getting rid of the rags. That's where their story started. They couldn't picture $1 million house on the hill. They didn't know anybody who lived in $1 million house on the hill. They'd never been in $1 million house on the hill. But they could picture and want a life where they didn't have somebody telling them, if you're not at work at 9 o'clock on the dot on Monday, we're going to fire you. They could picture a life where somebody wasn't telling them to chew their food at 12 o'clock, even if they weren't hungry, because that's when lunch hour was. They could picture a life where they would be at their son's championship Little League game, not at some job where somebody wouldn't let them have the afternoon off. They could clearly picture that. And they could picture that life was supposed to be a life where they could show up for the things they were supposed to show up for, and where they could decide when lunchtime was. And because they could picture that, they could make it happen. And once they had that picture, it was very easy to take the very simple plans that people like Travis and people that are successful in the network marketing space will give you to implement to go out and change your life. And that is why vision is the most important thing, because once you have a picture that you can truly see yourself living, once it is something that you can say is real to you, you can make it happen. So vision, and an expanding vision, but starting with a vision that is different than life as it is, but one that you can truly believe is the way it's supposed to be, I believe is foundationally where your life starts to change. Thoughts, Travis?
Well, isn't it that, you know, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in where you're going, and I'm talking about, you know, deep down inside, that burning white hot belief, if you really don't have that belief and that vision of where this industry is going to take you, then why would anybody follow you? Why would anybody join your vision? I mean, isn't it really what? But getting somebody to embrace a vision of what's possible for them. Mm-hmm.
You can't get anybody to follow you until you have a clear picture of what is possible for you.
Right.
Because getting people to follow you is you have to be able to transmit belief in something and make your belief their belief. And here's the problem. Believing that the industry can work for others, or believing that the industry can work, is not the same as believing the industry can work for me. And I have to believe the industry can work for me in order to help you believe the industry can work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to believe the industry can work for me, I have to know what I want the industry to work for me to do, and it has to be something that I believe I can deserve. Let me give an example of what I mean by that. Let's say I want to make $200,000 a year. I have to believe I'm a $200,000 a year person before I can believe that I can accomplish that in network marketing. If I don't believe I'm a $200,000 a year person, I'd have to believe that I'm going to get lucky and win the lottery for it to happen in network marketing or in anything else. Network marketing is just the best vehicle for me to go out and accomplish that, because it's not going to ask me for a degree, it's not going to ask me for a bunch of money, it's not going to ask me for a bunch of resources, it's not going to ask me for a lot of obstacles that traditional things would ask me for. It's not going to ask me to accomplish it in a model that is clearly broken in today's world. But if I don't believe that I have $200,000 a year worth of value to provide to the world, I'm not going to accomplish it in network marketing any more than I'm going to do it anywhere else. So the first belief has to be in your own worthiness, and that comes from having a vision of yourself living a life and bringing $200,000 of value to the world. And I don't mean to bring it down to money, because I don't think that's where it starts for most people. I think it starts seeing themselves living a lifestyle and of being someone different than they are and approaching things differently than they do. And I'll give you an example, and I'll take it back to the kitchen, which is always where I go. And the reason I always go back to the kitchen is I think accomplishing anything is 5 parts mind and 1 part recipe. But people always think it's 6 parts recipe and no part anything else. That's why you and I get 9,000 phone calls. How do I do this? And how do I do that? And how do I do this? And if everything came down to telling people how to do something, we'd be rich. Actually, we'd be broke, because the library is full of books on how to do everything, and they're all pretty accurate. You can go on the internet and I can type in how to build a car, and I can get detailed instructions, I bet, on how to build a car from A to Z. The problem is, I can't picture myself building a car, and even if I believe, and I do believe, that if I follow the step-by-step instructions on how to build a car, I have absolutely zero desire to build a car. But if my life depended on building a car, I could go out and I could get the how-to manual on how to do it. You and I know the secret is not the how-to manual, but everybody out there believes it's 6 parts how-to. That's the first mistake. But let's say that it was. We say recipe, so I'll bring it back to the kitchen, because everybody accepts. So let's say Travis, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios, and Paul. Scenario number 1, and everybody can picture themselves here. This is why we're going to go to the kitchen. Even the men, I'm being sexist, forgive me. For those women who have never cooked, and for those men who are chefs, I'm not going to make it about men. Let's imagine that you get a call today, and it's some big charity organization that you've always lovingly given money to so that you could avoid ever having to actually do a lot because you don't have a lot of time. And somehow when I call you, because I'm so good at getting people to do things they have no desire to do, by the end of the phone call, you have a list of a 6-course, and you love to cook, Travis, but even so, you have a 6-course menu that you have now committed to cook all dishes you've never cooked before for this charity banquet, this charity intimate dinner for 20 people next week. Now, when you get off the phone, you know exactly what to do. You're going to go out and going to get the recipes for all 6 of these dishes, and you're going to probably cook them once or twice to make sure they're perfect when you come to this thing. And given the attitude that you would normally bring to things, you'll make the best of it. But the truth is, in this situation, you're not excited. It's not something you wanted to do. You sort of got pressured into it. And you're under the pressure to perform, going to do it. And you approach it with not excitement, because you didn't want to do it anyway. And your best outcome is you don't want to disappoint somebody, because it was not something you want to do in the first place. So you approach it with the pressure to perform, wondering, gosh, I don't want to screw this up. I don't want people to be pissed at me. I don't want this. I don't want to do this anyway, blah, 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 blah. And this is how a lot of people approach network marketing, even though they may not know exactly what to do when they approach it, but we give them the 6 recipes. So they don't have to worry about going and finding them or anything else. We give them all that information. But they approach the business with all the wrong attitude, this pressure to perform. They're not sure if they want to be there. They haven't really pictured what, they don't really know exactly what they're doing yet. They don't really believe they deserve the success or have their pictured outcome. That's one scenario. But you're cooking these 6 dishes. Now you get up one day and you say, gee, I think I want to give a dinner party. It's going to be an intimate gathering of 20 people. I know what I'm going to cook. Let me put together a menu. You put together a menu of the exact same 6 dishes. We're going to do it next week. Be here at the house. What kind of music? This is the music I'm going to play. The weather's going to be good. I can open the patio doors. Who should I invite? Oh, this will be a good crowd. We'll talk about this. These are the wines I want to select, and you're excited. You can picture exactly what that evening is going to look like, and you can see it happening down to the nth detail. That doesn't mean it might not go a little bit off plan, but that vision is going to keep it on point. And if it does deviate a little bit, you've got such a clear vision of how much fun it's going to be, and you're so excited about it. It's going to be an awesome evening because it's already awesome in your head. You can see it exactly before it happens, and you're going to make it come to fruition. Now, your role in both scenarios is exactly the same. You're cooking the exact same food for the exact same amount of people, using the exact same recipes, going through the exact same steps. But your attitude that you bring to it and how you're going to approach it, and I venture to guess the experience in cooking the food is going to be 2 vastly different things with 2 vastly different outcomes for you. And the impressions of the people that are there are going to be of you are going to be vastly different. And your attitude throughout the process is going to be vastly different. And that's really what I'm saying. Is in one scenario, you're kind of lost just doing something because you feel you have to. And in the other one, you're fulfilling a picture because you can see it so clearly. That's the challenge with people. So often when they come to the business, they say, I want to get rich or I want to whatever it is, and they don't really define what it is. They don't know what it means. And even if they did know what it means, they have no connection. Because at the end, in the first scenario, if all your intention was to have a dinner party, it would have been a smashing success. But more often than not, the dinner party would lead to other things, relationships, fellowship, business, who knows. In the first scenario, you get the dinner done, you're done with the charity thing, you go home, it's over. And that's what happens with people. They call you back. I did that. I made my list. I called 20 people. 18 of them hung up on me. 2 said they'd think about it. Network marketing doesn't work. Because they had no picture of, it starts with the big picture. And then you ask not a bunch of questions to confuse people. People have to learn how to ask the next question. Because the next question leads to the next question. You started with, I want to have a dinner party. The next question, of course, would be, when would that be? What type of a party do I want to have? Who do I want? What type of a feel? Big or small? Intimate? Who should be on the guest list? What type of food do I want to make? What kind of conversation? What type of music? By the time you work it all down, it's so specific that your picture is so clear that it's a success. Other people, they take the recipe, they've got this vague idea of what it is, they never ask the next question, and the next question, and the next question. They either ask such a jumble of questions that they overwhelm themselves, or they leave it out there so vague that they operate in a vacuum. They take one day's worth of steps, they make it the plan in of itself. They decide that it doesn't work based on that. They don't know what the results, if any, mean. They don't know how to connect it back to the plan they didn't have, for the picture they haven't developed, for the goal that is ill-defined. And they can't connect any of that to what they're trying to create because they didn't have a vision of where they were going. And if they don't know where they want to go, then having a vehicle to get there is pointless. And they certainly can't help other people to articulate their own personal destination, let alone connect it to the joint destination that takes a bunch of individuals, connects them in a joint movement for the greater good to change the world. So again, I think it comes back to people having an idea, a vision that they can actually believe is the way life is supposed to be for them, that they can see. And once they can see that, all the pieces fall into place, because the how-tos are never really the issue. We can give them that. then those two things together, take into action, create the belief, and then getting people to follow you becomes simple. Because the one thing that you can't fake, in my opinion, is belief. You can tell a good story, you can teach a plan, you can give people information, you can do all those things all day long, but belief is hard to fake, because every day is not a sunny day in May, and the minute things are not going perfectly, belief and faith either make you rise above or they make you cower and run. All you have to do is wait for things to not be perfect, and you will know who truly believes. They're still standing in the room moving forward.
Strong.
Does any of that make sense?
It all makes sense. I think that vision applies in a lot of different areas of your life. I think it applies not only in where, I mean, it's interesting when you know where you're headed and you have a clear vision, how a roadmap begins to appear. And I'll kind of go back to an example that you're very well aware of, and that's when what led us to Mynt. You and I both know that we arrived at a very clear vision that we wanted to find a company that was going through a turnaround process. We knew exactly what it was that we were looking for, and I think that ultimately became very evident why Mynt came about, and it was because we had a very clear vision of what we wanted to accomplish. How we arrived there, and that vision largely came from a lot of our consulting and mentorship to get there, and it was a painstaking process at times. But is that
you know what's
relevant?
funny about that? You know what that reminds me of, and I say it all the time? You know, I'm very happily married.
Yeah.
Steve is perfect for me. And the reason is, and I met him when I was 17. And I knew immediately he was the person I was going to marry, and I never, and, you know, and I mean, I'm married. So, yes, there are days that you just like, why am I here? We've all had that in a marriage. But people always say, well, you know, I knew who my husband was, I just didn't know his name till he showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a very clear picture of the person that matched me. I didn't know what he looked like, and I didn't know his name, but I knew the personality. I never had a list, you know, where I sat down and said, gee, he's going to be this, he's going to be that. I mean, I suppose we all make those with their girlfriends giggling, but on some innate level, I just knew the personality of the person that was my soulmate. So it was very quickly, and we always say it, whether it's friends or significant others. I feel like I've known you all my life when you meet somebody. You know, you find the right company, the right fit, the right mentor, and you say, I found it. It's almost as if I designed it. And in fact, it's true. Because your vision is so clear, when the thing that meets your vision shows up, you just know it. And that's why people that go wandering aimlessly, trying to, you know, when they find something and they start asking all these questions to see if it's it. I understand asking questions to see if it fits what your vision is, but you can't find something and then try to mold your vision around it. It's never going to feel like it fits you. You can't change yourself to fit the situation. You have to find the situation that fits you. Otherwise, and that's what I'm saying, that's why you have to be able to have a clear vision of the lifestyle you want. If you want to change, you have to be able to see, if you want your life to change, you have to be able to see a better picture for yourself. Because the picture you're in right now is the one that right now you believe is the way it's supposed to be. Even, I'll take it back to that change. Did you guys freeze up, or are you still there? I think you froze. But I can't tell if I'm still on, or you're frozen, or if I'm frozen in the world. If people can still see me, pop up. Tell me that you're there, because somebody's frozen, either me or them. And I can't really tell who, but I'm guessing they're frozen. Okay, can you still see me? Well, folks, if you can still see me, it appears that Travis and Paul have frozen. And I think if so, they'll probably drop off and come back. But if you're getting anything out of this, or if you have a question that you want me to answer, or those guys to answer when they come back, why don't you go ahead and pop that question in? Or on the other hand, I might be talking to myself, in which case isn't this fun? Okay. Okay, it's just me here. So they probably are going to come back on. So let's see. I'm still on. Great. Can you say the part about you can't change yourself? Okay, I do believe you can change yourself. But the way that we change ourselves is by asking different questions. If you want the world to change, you have to change the way that you look at the world. That was kind of the point of the story I was talking about with Travis and the charity event versus giving the dinner party with cooking the same menu. I believe the key to developing better vision, I believe the key to anything in life really is asking better questions, because I think what the mind will do is the mind will always look for answers to the questions that we ask. Just as we do externally, it's what we do internally. If you're a parent and your child comes to you and says, help, I can't find my shoes, can you help me? We immediately go look for the shoes. If somebody says to you, what color is an elephant, you immediately think about an elephant and you say, gray. How do you get how do you get to the store on the corner? You immediately start giving somebody directions on the corner. So if you ask questions like, why am I so bad at this? Your mind will look for answers to prove to you that you're so bad at something. If you ask questions like, how do I get better at this? Your mind looks for answers to tell you how to get better at this. What resources can I use to help me what resources are available to me to help me improve my business? Your mind's going to go look for resources. Why does nobody help me? Your mind starts looking for reasons that nobody's helping you. So the key to success in anything is asking better questions. We always talk about the fact that we think in pictures. We don't, and that's proven. We don't think in words. We think in pictures. If I say to you elephant, you don't see ELEPHANT. You see a picture of an elephant. The clearer the pictures that we see, the more they affect us. The more vivid they are, the more they affect our behavior. If we're seeing disempowering, ugly pictures, if we keep playing pictures of ourselves always failing, if that's what we envision, chances are we go out and fail. So how we look at things is how we change. If we want to change the way we want to change if we want to change the world, we change the way we look at the world. So what I'm saying is, you have to have a picture that you actually can see yourself in. Case in point. If you just start a business today and you've never ever spoken on a stage, let's say of 10,000 people, you can say, I want to speak on a stage of 10,000 people someday. And it's a great lofty goal. But if you don't see yourself speaking in front of stage in front of 10,000 people, you never will. And for some people who've never spoken in front of 10 people, speaking in front of 10,000 people is something that, as much as they want, they truly can't see it. But I will tell you what, once you've spoken in front of 10 people, it's much easier to see yourself speaking in front of 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, because what you really don't see is yourself speaking in front of a group of people. Because once you can see yourself speaking in front of a group of people, the numbers eventually become irrelevant.
Mm-hmm. Lisa,
and what I'm saying, I'm sorry, you're back, so I don't have. I have people ask me questions so that I can answer.
Welcome to the world of having 5 on phones on Wi-Fi, a gamer, and then you've got another one that's on. I mean, I gotta expand my bandwidth, I think.
It happened to me on the last Hangout. I told you, I'm talking, and all of a sudden I get this thing from Windows that says, your computer encountered a problem, and it has to restart. With this frowny thing. I was just grateful it restarted. I'd rather have a bandwidth problem than the computer telling me it's sick. Lisa Grossmann, techno idiot and proud of it. Sitting in Hong Kong with no idea what she would do if her computer breaks.
Well, I
think my policy for the house calls, which I bought, that they'll come to the house and fix it, I'm thinking it doesn't include the house in Hong Kong.
No, I totally get that. Listen, I want to have Paul, because Paul's a person.
Please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I want Paul to talk. Paul's the relationship guy.
Well, and you know what, though? He's new into network marketing, and
Yeah, but he's not new into networking or relationships. He's going to embarrass us all with his incredible art. He's going to crush it. Paul's a people person.
Well, it's thanks for asking. the most interesting nugget from what you're saying that really hit me, and this is really a great learning experience for me, Lisa, because we've heard of the old adage, fake it till you make it. Well, this really flies in the face of that, because that delivers very little value, probably very little short-term value, if any at all, based on what you're saying. And what I'm taking away is find out the things you can really believe in and just immerse yourself in those first, and just have a little faith and build and build and build. I don't know if that's exactly what you're conveying, but for me, and I have a lot of skill sets, it's still about the belief, and I believe you.
I don't believe in fake it till you make it, and I'll tell you why. I believe in faith that it will happen until it does. Act as if you have faith, and faith shall be bestowed upon you. This I absolutely believe. But here's why. I think that people are not stupid. And I think that greed and excitement, that for a time people may buy into something in some euphoric crowd frenzy, but I think inherently people are not stupid. And I think that in the end of the day, taking all the excitement of 5 minutes out of it, that people respect people that are honest with them, and that people can pretty much cut through the nonsense. And I don't think that anybody believes that there's such a thing as get rich quick. I think that if I were to really, and I believe that if we just treat people like they're not stupid, that can serve us really well. And I also think it sets people, I think the number one reason people fail and quit network marketing is because somebody didn't help them manage their expectations.
False expectations.
I think that's the number one reason. I think it's not because it doesn't work, because clearly it works. If it works for one person, it works. If it works for more than one person, it's not a fluke. And more people, we have as many people, or when I started, the magic number was like 10,000 a month, and there are almost as many people making $100,000 a month today as were making $10,000 a month 25 years ago. So obviously it works. Look at the numbers, so they can say that, but that isn't it. It's because their expectations were not managed. And if I look at somebody and say, okay, seriously, you seriously thought that you could talk to a few people, put in 5 hours, something you never heard of before, didn't know how to do, and you seriously thought you were going to get rich overnight, and you believed that. And people look at you, and what are they going to say? Yes, I believed it, because they need to be responsible. And I think it's more about helping other people to be responsible and look it in the mirror than all of a sudden, I'm not going to accept responsibility because somebody else, believed something that was so ludicrously ridiculous that I want them to prove to me that they're not a moron, because if they actually believe that, how stupid can they be? So I'm not going to be the one to tell them that. And so I think that people like people that are honest. I think if you tell people the truth, here's the truth. You can be good at anything if you are prepared to be willing to be bad at it for a time, sometimes a long time. If I walked up to you and said, if I told my kid said to me, I want to play the piano, and I said, great, put in 5 hours and you'll be a concert pianist, she wouldn't believe me, and she was only 5 when she started the piano. And yet a grown adult's going to tell me, I want to be a millionaire. Great. Do network marketing part-time for 3 months and you'll be there? There is nothing, yes, you can. Here's the key with network marketing. We tell the $1 million stories to prove that that it can be done. It's something to aspire to. It's something to inspire others, and it is as rare here as it is anywhere else. Here's the difference with network marketing. If the janitor at Microsoft, 65 years old, one night's mopping up the stalls and says, I've had an epiphany. I can be more. I want to be the CEO of Microsoft. Does he have a single chance in life of that ever happening? No, he does not. He doesn't have the CV, the contacts, the education, or any of the fold. Can't happen. But if that same janitor, 65, says, oh my gosh, I've seen network marketing, and I want to become the top of a company, and I want to be a millionaire. Can he do it in network marketing? He may not. Most don't. But can he? Yes, he can. That's what makes network marketing great. But the stories of people that started out and were able to change their life, pay for daycare, help, give up a second job and still have a second income so they could spend more time, pay for the vacation for the whole family to take that they were never able to take before. Those are the stories that inspire people, because that's representative of most people, and that's something they can imagine today. And if you can help them believe in something they can imagine today, who knows, one day, someday, where they may go. I never thought I'd achieve the things I did in network marketing when I started. I thought I'd be able to accomplish as much in network marketing as I had accomplished in the traditional world. My vision didn't expand much beyond that. And it didn't for a long time. For 10 years, I achieved about the same that I'd achieved in the traditional world, which is a pretty good income by most people's standards. Certainly was by mine at the time. I was able to give up something I hated and live life on my own terms. Then 1 year, I made 5 times as much and have done that pretty much ever since. I didn't get 5 times better. I didn't learn some secret in 1 year that made me 5 times more capable. I started asking better questions. I started asking, what do those people have that I don't have? What do they know that I don't know? All they had was a bigger picture. They saw themselves accomplishing more. They saw themselves internationally, where I saw myself nationally. They saw themselves with more leaders doing what they had done instead of just helping other people achieve. And that's a function of asking questions, because the better the question. But I don't believe in faking it till you making it. I believe in working hard and doing better tomorrow than you did yesterday, and making your next chapter your best chapter and your next work your best work, so that your story of growth and achievement inspires somebody else to believe that they can do the same. And I believe that when you're honest with people about where you started and what you've accomplished, that makes them feel that it's okay to be where they're at as well. And that's what you utilize Upline for, and connect people to other people, because it is the stories that drive the business. The only challenge is if you get started and you don't do anything, because that's not a story you want to tell. But here's the key. The most important time in network marketing is your first 90 days. But that doesn't have to be the first 90 days from when you sign an app. Your 90-day story can be, I signed up and I hung around for a year, didn't really get it, used the products, played around. But then I saw something I hadn't seen before. My light bulb went on. And let me tell you what happened in the first 90 days after I got serious. Don't waste a year like I did. If I had to do all over again, I'd have thought bigger, faster. That's what my friend Holton Buggs says. If he had it to do all over again, he'd have thought bigger, faster. If I had it to do all over again, I wouldn't have taken 10 years to realize that I needed to make my picture bigger than it was. I would have done it in 10 months. Any other questions? Anything else since we lost them again? Well, we've been going a while, and I want to, and everybody, I appreciate that you've taken your time out. I love what Paul was saying. I love what Travis was saying. I'm sorry that we lost them in the battle of the bandwidth, and I really appreciate everybody taking their time out to spend some time with me. I don't want to keep you. But if there's anything that I can do to help, I want to, give you as much value as I can. So what I'm going to do, if we don't have any other questions to come up, is I'm going to say thank you and to have a great rest of your Tuesday night, and to connect with me. If there's any questions that I can answer, feel free to message me on Facebook. I respond to all my messages. Like my fan page, follow my profile, connect with Curtis, connect with Travis if there's any topics you'd like us to cover, if there's anything we can do for you. I think you're in a great place. I was there at the beginning, that original retreat in Utah when Travis and Summer were making the decision. I think they made an excellent one. I have it on good authority that Mynt's going to be tapping into some serious international expansion in the near future. So the timing is really good. And more importantly than being with a great company, and you are, with a great legacy and a new vision, great combination, all of the advantages of a startup with none of the risks because of the backbone of such a solid company, great management, lots of experience there, exciting story, exciting culture. But you are with a phenomenal group of people at the core, with Travis and and Summer and Rob and Tiffany and Jay and Tony and so many others I've not haven't mentioned, but that we spent time with in Utah, and so many that have joined since. And that's a great place to be in this wonderful, wacky world of network marketing. It's just so wonderful to be working with people that are all together because they want to be, all, you know, bonded by making life better for themselves, their families, and showing people that they have an opportunity to make every day count and have fun and be funny and be real and authentic and go out and show people that life can be more than it is and that we can control our destiny. So thank you for being here and for sharing some of your time with me and letting me share some time with you. And we'll see you next week. Great evening, everybody.